Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. We are here taking your calls on the Bordas & Bordas hotline, which is 412-575-2600. You can also tweet at KDPomp, at Tim Benz PGH. We have Mr. Benz in studio tonight from the Trib and also the DVE Steelers pregame show. We're going to start talking hockey here because yesterday was a very big game. In my opinion, probably the best win of the year for the Pittsburgh Penguins, considering, number one, how it started, number two, the opponent, and number three, everything that went on in the stands. And a lot of controversy about the mock cheer that Matt Murray received. Keep this in mind. He stopped 34-37 shots, and he had a pretty good save percentage, and he has now really been better than Tristan Jarry over the last 5 games. Yet in that game, early on, it was a sloppy start. He contributed to it. Tim Benz, I want to get your thoughts on that. Some people decided to speak out and give him a little Bronx cheer. It was only 2 minutes into the game. You know, I understand people have a right to do whatever they want to do, and sometimes if a team is flat, you can boo them. But this was a little different to me, only because it was so early in the game, and this particular player had been playing so well, it still was 58 minutes left to be played, and
well,
yet
actually,
all of a sudden that came over.
I think because it was so early in the game is part of the reason why they did it. You know, you see the first 2 of 3 shots go in the net, you finally see one trickle to his glove, and you give a little mock cheer. I didn't think it was all that big of a deal. I will say this, though. The bigger deal to me is how Murray responded to it. When he was asked about it in the post-game interview scrum, he gave it a very terse no comment, and in giving a very terse no comment, that's as much of a comment as you need. Yeah, I heard it, and yeah, it bothered me. And for as much as Matt Murray has said that Marc-Andre Fleury meant a ton to him and how much of a great mentor he was, this happened to Marc-Andre Fleury. How many times did you say, Bob?
Well,
40, 50
I
times?
can tell you, during this show, we took so many calls, and people
Right.
now forget about it. Like, oh, we never were critical.
Oh, my
People wanted him
God.
traded out of town. They didn't like what was going on with him so many times, and yet it is part of it. There's no question. He didn't comment. He didn't have to, but I thought his teammates did enough commenting. It's unusual for Sidney
No, but he
Crosby.
did comment. But by saying no comment,
Fine.
he is exactly commenting. And if it's no big deal, then do it the way that Fleury used
But
to
I think
do
it was a big deal. To him, it was a big deal.
It is, and that maybe that's the problem.
Or maybe that, you know.
Can't you
made
shrug
him-
it off?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
I don't know that
shrugged it off?
I don't know that it did. Apparently, it bothered him.
Yeah, but he responded the right way because he stopped the rest of the shots he faced after that. Not one other goal went into him. By the way, the other goal was a Jack Johnson accidental goal, so it really wasn't
No,
on
well,
him.
if that gets by Jack Johnson, Marchand's right there and he tips it in. So I mean, that was going to be a goal either way.
Okay, but that wouldn't have been his fault if that was because Jack
No.
Johnson wasn't in the right place. If it got by him, there's nobody else back there. My point is, Matt Murray's done a lot of good for this. And again, I think it's a big overblown story. I agree. But I also think that I think people need to be a little bit more, wait till the game unfolds a little bit. It's 2 minutes in, for goodness sakes, or whatever it was. It's 2-0. Okay, there was a misplay, all of that. But this is a team that has shown resiliency. This is a team that has come back a lot. And I wasn't surprised they came back to make it a game. I am surprised they won the game, considering it was the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, the Bruins being who they are, they've been a bugaboo for the Penguins this year, and they've beaten the Penguins a couple different ways so far, which I think was part of the concern. Is, you know, they beat them 6-4 in a fire wagon up and down game, where neither of the Penguins goalies played well that night. And then they beat them just by being the big bad Bruins that they used to be, that, you know, annoyed the Penguins back in 2013 and, you know, have gotten themselves to Cup finals and Stanley Cup championships before, playing their game. So they did it their way, they did it the Penguins' way, and that was the concerning part to me. And look, we have enough Pittsburgh versus New England obsession around here when it comes to football. We don't need it for hockey, too. So I was really glad to see that diffused with the comeback that they had. And I've said this a couple times, Bob. One thing that really impressed me in that game was the play of the centers below the goal line in the offensive end.
True.
You know, the way that Crosby shook the one defender to set up the Simone goal.
Malkin.
And how about that Malkin forecheck? He came screeching in, separates McAvoy from the puck, gets the puck, and makes a great feed.
All
to
in
Rust.
one motion. I
Right.
mean, he separated him, took it as if he knew exactly, which he must have, that Brian Rust was right there. But that was a bad play by Halak to start it. And at that point of the game, Tim, I thought, okay, now we're 3-3, 6 minutes or 7, whatever was left. These two teams are waiting for someone to make a mistake, and Boston made a mistake, and the Penguins pounced all over it. All right, so now they have Philadelphia tomorrow. Then they have a 9-game layoff, and after that, Tim, there's some pretty good competition all within the Eastern Conference, specifically within their division.
Yeah, whatever they think they might need to get right, they better get right before they come back from this break. They've got Philadelphia at home after playing them here before the break. Washington, Tampa, and Florida on the road. Florida, Bob, honestly, has given them almost as much of a problem as Boston has. And then they get Tampa again at home. So that's 5 games out of the gate that will really test them. They've had some trouble with teams in the Atlantic. They've barely seen the Caps and Flyers. The Canes, they haven't played yet at all.
Not at all.
So they get them 4 times in the month of March.
4 times in 2 weeks.
And there's a lot to be sorted out in the bottom, say, 3 or 4 teams that are fighting for those 2 wild card spots. The Penguins will play a big role in that and how they play with the other teams. Those teams being desperate, trying to get in a playoff position. It's going to be like the playoffs to them every night. They better rest up and rest soundly during these 10 days.
They get a lot of days off. We'll see how it happens. We're due for a break. We'll take it when we come back. We'll talk more about the Penguins. Also want to get into the AFC and NFC championship games and plenty more with you. Call us at 412-575-2600. Do it now live right here on Pittsburgh CW. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, celebrating 25 years as Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters, where honesty and integrity still matter.